so if I'm not going down a path, it's a dead end. I've got to get used to the mini-map not spinning. Alright, so now we'll do this, this, and this. And this should allow them to keep up with my main character in the amount of damage that he's doing. I mean, excuse me, the amount of experience that he's getting. At least somewhat. Specifically for Nanjo. That said, I'm not all that worried about it. The thing about levels in this game is I think they expect you to like stop and get all the spell cards. Let's see, 400. Okay, we're far enough away from. There's another awakening battle in here, and I think they expect you to stop and get all the spell cards in an area because, and do a lot of level grinding, because if you don't stop and grind, you'll end up somewhere in the range around 50 for your main character and Maki, because she gets that level boost near the end of the game. And then everybody else somewhere in their mid-40s. Between 40 and 45. I think my lowest level character was 42 during my test run. And that's actually a shame, because the ultimate personas are right around level 60, which means I would have had to grind somewhere in the realm of 15 levels for everybody to get their ultimate personas. I was planning on showing the ultimate personas off, but then I was like, nah, that's way too much grinding. That'd be like an hour and a half of grinding. Probably. So this is our first choice in the game. We can choose to bring Brown along if we want. But we don't want Brown. Although he is probably the best. I'm gonna say he's probably the top pick for usefulness out of the potential 5th character slot. Maybe he's tied with Reiji. Reiji's not bad, but I think Brown edges him out just a little bit, just because of how good submachine guns are. See, rifles start out really, really good, but the last few rifles that you can get, they don't have multiple hits. Not like the submachine guns. Also, Brown just randomly has a spear. Nice. I do like that the usage in these scripted battles actually does count towards your uses. Like, I don't think they didn't have to do that. We got magic powers. And Brown now has his persona. And Brown's persona uses blast attacks, which are Zan. But we're not going to be taking Brown with us. One thing about personas that I don't think I talked about, as they gain ranks, they actually get stats. Their stats go up, and their magic attack and magic defense go up. Your magic attack and magic defense depend entirely on the persona you have equipped. So that's actually something you need to do not ignore, because if you get a persona, there's a few personas, basically, that have really good skills, but they have abysmal magic defense, which means they get absolutely destroyed in random encounters or boss battles. So it's not something that I worry about too much, but it is a concern. Nope. Yes. I love how he just disappears. Alright, so now, let's see, we want to, bam. So shotguns are terrible, because they have that cone range, and pretty much the only way they're useful is if Mark is square in the middle, and they only hit, while they hit everything, they only hit once. So they're not super good for damage. So Mark is actually probably the worst character in the party. But he's not, like, unusably terrible or anything. So that's pretty nice, at least, thankfully. But we do need to start leveling up his persona, so we're going to... Oh, I didn't change my... It'd be fine, it'd be fine. Rapid Fire, Sukukaja, and Grai. Persona! So Grai is an element that has not appeared, I don't think, in any other game. I don't even think it's in Persona 2. I'd have to double check, but Grai is gravity damage. They brought nuclear damage back for Persona 5 with Frey, but so this is one of the reasons why you see how uneven the experience gain is getting, and it's going to be that way for the entire game. There is going to be a huge difference in the levels of my characters. Like, this is not a game for people who like everybody to have equal experience. Like, if you have that specific OCD and it bothers you, then that's fine. You need to play a different game, basically. That's a save room, by the way. Hold on, let's... I want you to keep using your persona. If you don't use your persona, you get much less persona experience. And if you don't level up your persona level, then of course you don't, you can't equip higher level personas. So it's a problem. You gotta balance what you do in battle. Maki's about to just start destroying the entire world with her rapid fire ability. I'm telling you, that ability is amazing. That's a wall. The dungeons in this game are actually really short. So, I think it's got to do with how there's space in between everything. So, if you're playing SMT 1 and 2, everything is, like, the walls are next to each other and all this other stuff, basically. And the dungeons are much denser than they are in this game. There's a lot of, like, the side paths in this game are not that long, so you'll look down. I think it's more of an issue in the PS1 version of the game where you don't have the mini map, but we have this mini map, so I can see that, oh, this is a dead end. Usually without having to go all the way down it. So even without having the maps, this is not that bad of a game to navigate. It gets a little worse when you start going into the end game, but honestly, this is a very easy game. We never find out, I don't think, if the lieutenant died. Alright, so now that we're done with the police station, we can now go into the Velvet Room. So buffs are really good because if you want somebody to gain experience, because they don't monopolize, like, they're not good if you want somebody to, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? If you want somebody to, like, catch up, but they're really good for maintaining an even level of experience. Because buffs are worth a lot of experience in, like, participation credit, but they're not worth as much as just going in and, like, doing a ton of damage. So we're going to go into the Sun Mall here. Let's talk to this guy. And we're good. Like, I don't care about the main character. Like, I just want him to get some, like, Persona level experience, because later on he's going to be basically destroying every random encounter we run into with his gun. So because of that, he's going to end up getting less Persona experience. So, like, I'm doing things with more or less a plan, like, and I don't want to talk to you, so go away. If you ignore a demon, then they won't actually talk to you after that. Let's just hit replay. I'm not particularly worried about... Not worried about these guys at all. It would be really great if Mark could get his last Persona skill at max rank, which is Mazio. But if he can't, it's not that big a deal. I would like to get into that building, though. I think statuses in this game are much less egregious than they are in SMT 1 and 2. Probably because they, you know, learned better. I seem to recall in the PS1 version, and I might be mixing this up with the Persona 2, but I seem to recall you being able to talk, like, this being a room where you could go around and talk to your people. So anyway, this is Igor. Igor's got a nose. He's the I guess you would call him the master of the Velvet Room, but he works under Philemon in Persona 1, 2, and possibly 3. But they kind of drop Philemon later in the game, so later in the games, the series. Blah blah blah. You take spell cards that you get from demons, you combine them, and you get personas. And you can talk to... You can get stuff, blah blah blah. And basically what he's saying is when you create a persona, right? And we're going to go Guided Fusion because Guided Fusion just lists all the personas that you can make. And then, like all the combinations. However, let's see. If you go to Manual Fusion, right? You get these additional symbols. Basically... we don't have any right here, but there's blue circles, there's red circles, there's white circles. White circles are neutral, red circles are unfavorable, and what that does is there's a higher chance for a fusion accident, and blue circles give a massive boost to the persona's stats, so it's really good. But we don't have any blue fusions, it's fine. We want to make 2 personas at this point. We want to make Phaleg. By using... doesn't matter. And you get a chance to add a item when you create a persona. So if you look there, you have what the items does. Most of the basic items just give you a random effect. So you'll throw the item on there, and then what it'll do is you could get a bonus to stats, you could get just any random skill that can be inherited. If you throw a stone on there, or, excuse me, like the core shield teaches you Liftoma, which nulls damage floors. I forget, I think the spell for this one is called Alsoga, but I don't remember what it does. It might restore your ability to use personas. I've never used that spell. And if you use stones, it teaches whatever skill would be used for that stone. Equipment does various things. Weapons give strength up, guns give... random effects. Equipment gives this. You can't do cards. Moonstone gems work like the element races in SMT. So if you use a gem, it will actually change. You know, it'll either go up or down, plus or minus 1 or 2. So this one looks like it would raise Phaleg up 2 ranks, which I can't do because, you know, level 55. But that's fine. So Phaleg is really good, and let's look at his stats here. The reason Phaleg is really good is because he has really good magic attack and defense. And he knows Tarunda and Midorama. He's really good. Let's see, subtype fire. I don't think I think if I give the Mabufu stone to these guys, to Phaleg, then it will actually either not work, or it will cause a fusion accident. But Ami no Uzumi is not fire, so we're gonna go ahead and do this.